So this is that gear-driven alternator that seized up. The bearings came out of it. It's gear-driven on the Detroit Diesel 8V71, and it just, luckily it pushed it to the side a little bit, but it's still chewed up. The gear is really bad, and the bearing cage is missing. And so we're gonna clean out the gear train on here. We're gonna drop the oil pan, check for metal in the pan. There's definitely gonna be metal down there. And we're going to do a bearing inspection. So we're gonna drop some main bearings on it and take a look and see how much metal's gone through this. So normally this is a catastrophic failure on the engine, so we're really lucky that the gear train is still intact. There's all the metal down in the oil pan. Don't get a sliver in your fingers. So here you can see the main bearings, how worn they are, and there's like deep divots in them, and they're just like delaminating and not in very good shape at all. So we opted to go ahead and we're gonna replace all the main bearings and rod bearings while we're under there. It's obvious that these are extremely worn and not in good condition anymore. So that, that's what we need to do on that. And then while we had that off, we inspected the crankshaft, and the crankshaft is actually in remarkably good condition. There's no deep gouging or grooves in it. It's smooth, and we just cleaned it up a little bit, and luckily this engine's going to be saved. We're just going to run it and do a quick oil change on it here and try and flush out some more metal and go from there. But we're going to finish replacing all these main bearings, rod bearings, and go from there. Hunter's under there now, just torquing the main bearings, finishing up on that job. So just about done with main bearings. Not super bad. Not nearly as bad as the mains. We only inspected the mains on it, and we figured we're down here, let's get these done too. But there's definitely see if I can get the focus close here. There's all these little divots. There you go. Where that alternator like welded on itself, this melted this fitting and it was broken, so we got to get a new one. And you can definitely see the difference between a worn out one and the new one. There goes a $1,000, 100 and something pound alternator. Our buddy Brandon over at Cardinal Coach over in Warsaw, North Carolina sent us some of these fittings that we needed. This is a special fitting. These are two different sizes for the oil lines, and then the third size NPT fitting that goes in. This goes on the 50DN alternator, so you can't just find this fitting at any store. So he had a bucket of these. He sent us a couple of them. This is what we needed to replace. This is what got melted through and broke on the MCI that had the alternator failure. It got welded through down here. That's powered by the power station. There's some cardboard up over on this side to keep the warm air in there. Ready? to bring the RPM up a little bit. Let me know. Charging.
Yep. And generally.
So when we went to, I started driving this around on the property. It feels powerful. The engine feels good. Everything's responsive. So I do think there's no issues with the engine here. We're going to do a quick oil change on it here after it's been running. But one thing I noticed, it's got some air leaks. We pulled it in here. The parking brakes are leaking. There's a leak in the service brakes. So it's got all kinds of air leaks we're going to look into real quick, see what's going on. I put some new valve cover gaskets on here. It's definitely been leaking from the valve covers on both sides. Where it's gray like that, you can tell it wasn't leaking, but then where you see black oil across it, you can see it was definitely leaking in those areas and a lot over here. Flip it over and let me see the bottom of it. Oh yeah. Let me see the oil coming through there. It's just old and squeezed out. It's supposed to be fatter than that. Getting ready to do our first oil change on it here. It's been running about an hour runtime. Drove it into the shop. I just want to flush as much of that metal out of the engine as we can. We also are going to drop the pan again. We got 4 magnets in the oil pan. Just want to see how they look. We definitely ran it long enough to make the oil black, right? Mm-hmm. I don't remember. This was magnetic, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, there's nothing on it. That's a good sign. It's magnetic. Leave one here. Going down?
Yep.
Definitely some metal on the magnets. Not a lot. And they did their job and they picked up a bunch of fine shavings that were in the system. A little bit of metal on there, not a lot. Can't tell if that's metal around the magnet. But if we just clean everything up again here, oil change, filter, clean new magnets in there, I think we'll be good. Okay, there we go. We got a new pan gasket getting ready to go on. Got new magnets in there again. This is Tim's bus here. This bus wasn't leaking anything at all until this morning. Now the parking brake circuit is leaking. Release. Brake hose is leaking out of the middle of the hose. And when he steps on the brakes, this one is leaking out of the middle of the hose. Is it bubbling out of there? Yeah. Push it hard. Hold it.
The one going to the other brick one too is leaking out of the middle of it.
On the other side?
Yeah.
Which one?
The
low one?
Yeah, that low one right there.
Yeah.
I just saw some bubbles up in the middle of it.
Did it just fall off of that other one on top because it's right
Possibly.
above it? Yeah, I think it did.
All right.
What was the noise up front?
The air up front?
Yeah, let's have him step on up here. Step and hold it again. Right? I'm not imagining it.
Yeah, that's it. Let off.
Try and zoom in on the Kingpin area. Pinch to zoom. We noticed this strange tire wear, which made us want to investigate the Kingpin issue on there. Kingpin or shock or see what was going on, but it's definitely Kingpin. Can't really see it very well here, but it's definitely, it goes up and down, up and down, up and down on both the inside and the outside of the tire.
Ready?
Yeah. Front diaphragm. Leaking on it. As soon as it starts moving, it comes out.
Yeah.
So you won't have to reload. No go.
spinning. What is this? Be shallow.
Like it came out.
Did something. Moved. Keep going.
What's that?
Not on the ground.
Well, it's loose. It's free
Oh.
loose. Just back it down.
Put the other one in?
No, you don't need
No.
it. Take the rest of that off and it'll come right out.
Oh.
Because it's tapered. You can use the impact to remove those. So put your socket on the gun if you want. Loosen them all a little bit before you go. Kind of nasty. The bottom of the Kingpin is it's super rusty and all worn. The top is fine. That's the top bushing. It's worn pretty good too. It's supposed to look like that. Well, this Kingpin, I didn't see that coming on this bus. It's been a few years since we've inspected the front end on it. So it must have been rusty before we inspected it. I think he had just got the bus back. He'd owned it and then sold it and got it back. And it must have been rusty. And then the last 3 years it's been wearing like that. But we were doing that fundraiser to help pay for the bill for Hank's bus. And Tim, the owner of this bus, donated to that. And I'm like, man, you got your own bill to worry about here. So that was so nice of him. So I've got this extra Kingpin sitting around here. So we're going to replace this. I'm not charging him for the Kingpin because he stepped up and did something nice for Hank. And we're just going to try and repay the favor for that. We need to see about getting a windshield for this bus. It looks like he needs a windshield. The driver's windshield is broken on here, cracked. We need to see if we can find one of those for him too. But we're still making progress on this bus here. The new Kingpin's not in yet. We're going to, this over the weekend here, and we're going to get to this hopefully on Monday and get the Kingpin finished up on it. The air leaks are going good. We got to replace a brake chamber and so on. So, but we're getting there, making big progress. This bus is almost ready to hit the road again.
See that white smoke rising up the holler through the trees, and from a mile away you can hear them play as they climb that hill with ease. But at the top of that mountain there's a new life waiting for those who can make the run. If they can make it to the top, Scott will put them in the shop till their new life has begun. Mountain, where the buses come to run. Bus Grease Mountain, we're gonna get that big job done.